and good day. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz from eTurboNews, and this is a breaking news update. For more news updates and shows, please go to youtube.com/travel news group. youtube.com/travel news group. Here's our update.
How safe are we 20 years after September 11th? Sobering. Travel today is a great deal harder than it was 20 years ago. In fact, the travel industry has changed so much and so rapidly that almost anything said about it becomes almost immediately obsolete. 20 years ago, few could have imagined the economic harm and death that COVID-19 has caused, nor the social control that the pandemic has caused. To put things into perspective, on September 11, 2001 a bit over 3,000 people died in a single day. Now in the age of COVID-19 the pandemic has killed well over 4 million people. The World Tourism Network president Dr. Peter Tarlow issued a sober report reflecting on 20 years since September 11, 2001 and the way the world of travel and tourism has been changing. Although most people still remember those tragic days, there is now an entire generation that was born after the September 11, 2001. For them 9/11 is an historical event that occurred long ago. The 2020-21 COVID-19 pandemic created a new set of challenges for tourism. For many younger people they cannot imagine the world of travel without restrictions, and too many do not realize that the basis for many of our travel restrictions have their roots in what occurred on September 11, 2001. During the last 2 decades, tourism and travel professionals have come to realize that the old assumption that security adds nothing to the bottom line is no longer valid. Tourism officials today see security as an integral part of their marketing efforts. Tourism security and policing, once the stepchild of the travel and tourism world, is now an essential part of the industry. Tourism and travel customers no longer fear security, they embrace every aspect of it, from counterterrorism measures to issues of public health. Travelers ask marketers about it, learn about it, and use security measures as a major component in travel decision-making. Furthermore, in COVID-19 the public now considers health measures as a part of tourism security. One of the ways that this new age of security is coming about is in the growth of private security forces, also known in some parts of the world as private police forces. Private security, along with TOPS, tourism-oriented policing and protection service units have now become essential ingredients for successful tourism industry. This reality is especially true both in countries, such as the United States and parts of Latin America, where there is anti-police sentiment accompanied by soaring crime waves, and in locations that are more protection-oriented. Although these private safety forces do not always have the right to arrest, they do provide presence and immediate response time. As such, in an age of rising political and economic uncertainties, private security for some areas of tourism has become an option to consider. It has also become an option to consider for city governments faced with the public's desire for protection and relief from heavy tax burdens. In the last 20 years, the public has come to expect some form of security not only at airports but at such places as shopping centers, amusement areas, parks, transportation hubs, hotels, convention centers, cruise ships, and sporting events. Despite many improvements in the world of tourism security and TOPS, tourism-oriented policing and protection services, there is still much to do. How we in the tourism industry have been doing during the last decades. The airline industry. Perhaps no part of tourism has received as much attention around the world as the airline industry. The last 20 years have had their ups and downs for the airline industry, with 2020 being the industry's biggest down. There is no doubt that airlines are an essential part of tourism. Without air transportation, many locales simply die, and air traffic is an essential part of both the leisure tourism business and also of commerce, business travel and the shipment of goods. Air travel today is much less pleasant than it was 21 years ago or even 2 years ago. Many travelers question if all of these measures are necessary or wonder if they might not be irrational, wasteful, and pointless. Others take an opposing view. In an age of pandemics, air travel security is not merely about securing the aircraft, but also about making sure that terminals are clean and baggage handling does not spread infections. Not only have new security regulations made life difficult for travelers, but also many forms of customer service have declined. From food to smiles, airlines simply provide less and often seem to be capricious in the way they treat the public. It is therefore disappointing that so little has been accomplished in air transport security. Too many customers wonder if airline security is more reactive than proactive. Possible solutions and consequences. Unless air travel security can be both streamlined and rationalized, the tourism industry will be hurt. At some point, leisure travelers will simply decide that flying is too difficult, and the results will be that vacations will become limited to areas within a day's driving distance. Added technology will also increase the cost of air travel to the point that the cost of flying may make air tickets prohibitive. To solve this dilemma, it may be necessary to concentrate on the people who may threaten visitor security rather than on the objects that may cause harm. That means better trained personnel. These people might need to employ more sophisticated psychological methods to help to determine who may be a threat to air travel. Hotel safety and security. It is safe to say that 21 years after 9/11 minimal security updates have taken place at many large hotels. On the other hand, major sanitation updates have occurred. On the positive side, some hotels have taken the step of increased training, others have added additional security cameras, passive protections, and still, others have begun to develop methodologies to protect both the loading areas and the food delivery services. Finally, in some cases, there is some form of an employee background check. Cities such as Las Vegas have done a good job not only with hotel employee background checks but also in integrating private and public security agencies. On the negative side, there is often no check of baggage. Too many employees have no background checks, and security departments, when they exist at all, are often poorly trained, paid and utilized. Many hotel managers still use an outdated model and believe that their security forces add nothing to their bottom line. The brightest spot in the hotel industry is the attention that it has paid to the pandemic, the cleaning and sanitizing of rooms, and the constant testing of hotel employees. Restaurants. Restaurants and catering services for the most part acted as if 9/11 never happened. The same cannot be said of the 2020 pandemic. Restaurants have made major health improvements and almost reinvented themselves. Unfortunately, the restaurant industry has suffered more than most parts of tourism as it tries to deal with multiple government changes and often nonsensical policies. It is not clear how many restaurants will face bankruptcy due to COVID-19 restrictions, and when the pandemic finally ends, how many restaurants might have closed their doors forever. Things to think about. Technologies do not save people, good people save people. This is an essential principle of tourism surety, security plus safety. The public is only as safe as the caring and concern of the people who protect them. If security personnel, both private and public, care, and most do, then levels of protection increase. If, on the other hand, security personnel are only doing a job and do not see their work as a vocation, then even the best equipment in the world will be thwarted. Money does not solve everything. Over the last 20 years we have seen that those seeking to harm the travel and tourism industries have found ways to use creative and often unexpected tactics to attack the tourism industry. Thinking out of the box is essential for good tourism security. A good example of such creative thinking is the use of clam diggers around Boston, Massachusetts. Logan Airport. These people are always watching the runways, and many were deputized and are now used as an additional level or airport security. Make sure that your security personnel take care of themselves. Security is a high-stress job and personnel need to take extra health precautions. Security personnel who work too many hours per day tend to miss important clues. Security personnel should not only have regular medical and dental checkups but meet with nutritionists to ensure proper eating habits. Customer service. The best security is provided when there is a corporate culture based on customer service. When security personnel are arrogant and uncaring, tourism security suffers. These are people who are doing more than protecting the public. They are tourism's first line of defense and often the persons who can either prevent or transform a tragedy. The World Tourism Network has been working with tourism professionals in both the private and public sector in 128 countries in its Rebuilding Travel discussion. More information on WTN including membership options at www.wtn.travel.
Thank you for listening to our news update. There's more on youtube.com/travel news group, or you can read us, of course, in going to our news portal at eTurboNews.com or travelnews.online.